party people. Can y'all hear me? I don't know what's going on with the system today. I was trying to hook that up. That's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit late. You know what I'm saying? But you got I came down with the bubonic, man. I got no idea. Like, look, after the last during the last live stream, right? I felt I felt something like I can't put my finger on it. I thought I was just getting tired or something. But uh, Wednesday, I woke up on Wednesday feeling like I got hit by a truck, man. Hold up. You ain't tell me the camera is good. See if we can get that adjusted a little bit. You know what I'm saying? King Bav, Mr. Green One. Yeah, I can't call it. I thought that I was gonna be, like every step of the way. I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm about to shake this right off, but then it never totally shook off there. Couldn't explain it. You know what I'm saying? And the second day, I gotta go get my little concoction and everything. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go get my little concoction that I make. You know, but I wasn't. Like I said, be not accepting. See, you know what it is, King Math. I was on my YN shit. See, I'm on my YN shit, thinking, sick. But it's not even invincible, man. That's what I'm thinking. Like, man, you talking to shake this right off. But see, if I had made the, my little potion, if I would have made that already, you know what I'm saying? Wise understanding, self I build. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna tell you one of the things I think what it is. You asked me where I got it from. I think see, cause I be out in the mission and everything. So it's one of the things where I think really what happened is, remember I told y'all I got the push-up primes, right? Remember the last time we was on the live stream, I told y'all how you see the holes in there right there is because these is really for pull-ups, right? But I just put them on the floor and use it for push-ups, right? So I got these, right? And I went a little bit crazy, right? I did about at least 400. You know what I'm saying? Probably more than that. But the thing is, I haven't been, you know, up to now. I've been just doing the basics, coming back off of getting hit by that car and everything. You know what I'm saying? So what ended up happening is what ended up happening is I think I overdid this, and then I just taxed my whole system to where whatever uh, whatever stuff that I was being around, then my body couldn't fight it no more. You know what I mean? But any particular thing that generally don't, is usually something. It's usually something like that, something that I do. You know what I'm saying? Making bees, crushed garlic. No, I'm a vampire. I don't eat garlic. I don't want to be nowhere around no garlic. I got sincere, but I got. Y'all gonna have to give me a minute in a second, right? Because I'm gonna go. I need to go make. I need to go hook up my concoction. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing a little lightweight sets. I've been doing a little lightweight sets. You know what I'm saying? Not too major. But you gotta get the white blood cells flowing and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But look, let me go get. I'm gonna go get my concoction right now. I'm gonna go get the potion and I'm gonna explain to y'all what's in it. Ooh, here we go. So this really, usually, I boil the lemon inside with the peel and everything, but on this particular time, I just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't feel like doing that. But this right here, the first couple of days, I was just, you know, drinking a little bit of tea. This is still tea. But this right here is a specially made formula. Let me see how it tastes. See, this right here is not for the. It's not for the faint of heart. Let's see. Whew. So you can see this right here. I don't know if you can see because I don't have the best lighting in here, but see, this is. You can see it's a little bit red. This is. I boil a tea bag. Pause. It's a shame that you gotta live your life like that now. That you gotta be saying pause just to talk regular, right? But this just a regular tea, right? Celestial seasonings, but with cayenne pepper. Like I just put the cayenne pepper in the water, right? Like I said, usually I would boil the lemon in there with the peels and everything. If when I'm really, 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 then I'll put the peels in there for a long enough time for it to like really boil out into the water. Eric Cook. All right, look, Eric Cook. I'm in recovery right now. I don't know if I want to be dealing with you right now. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you've already been told what it is. You know what I'm saying? But so this is the tea bag, right, with the cayenne pepper, right, and then y'all just saw me squeeze the lemon in there, right, with honey. And this formula right here, uh, it tends to just burn all of the mucus right out of me. I don't know, you know, this is not medical advice. Felix Almanzar, Jula TV. Yeah, this is powdered cayenne. You know, I'm not hip to the other kind of cayenne. But yeah, this is just the regular powdered cayenne. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, you know something I got sincere? I just started listening to that. I only listened to like the first 5 or 6 songs. So point, when I get to that point, then we'll kick it. We'll kick it about that skit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this right here, True Light was the science. This right here tends to burn just so all of the mucus, the phlegm, everything comes out. You know, whatever you gotta sweat out. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying that this has uh, anti toxin or whatever, but this right here tends to put me right back. You know, like look, I was struggling a little bit until I had to go back into the Rolodex because see, you know what it is? I don't get sick that often. Like I don't recall having a cold or nothing in years. Like through the whole pandemic, everything, I don't recall getting sick the whole time. You know, but that's just uh, uh, it just seems to work that way for me, right? Where I don't get sick that often, but when I do, down goes Frazier. You know, but we back in effect. See, already I feel some energy. This makes you energetic. I don't know what it is. See, if I was your name, you know what I would have put in there. That's what I'm saying. I haven't been sick in so long that I actually forgot my own formula. I was supposed to put some ginger in there. When I was boiling it, right? That's what it is. See, you're supposed to really don't even boil it. But you said now you gotta watch out for that other thing with the water tower in Harlem. What happened? What happened with the water tower in Harlem? I didn't even hear about that. But yeah, you proceed because really, look, I didn't see like just now. I wasn't really boiling it. What I do is I put it on real simmer, like low, like you know when you turn the rice down, you know you bring the rice to a boil and then you turn it down so that it simmers out or whatever that process is called. See, I put it down like that, and then I put the lemons and the ginger in there. So then, by the time you come back to the water, you can see the water got a little bit of the color from the lemon and the ginger in it. You know what I'm saying? And then, right, with you know, you can have the cayenne, and, you know, everything all in there at the same time. But I put the honey in at the end. Though. That's one thing I never really put into the pot. You know, and I'm sure some other things, man, that you know what I'm saying would have some, but that's I use that. It works for me. You know, it's not. This is not medical advice when you're trying to get. You know, I already got one copyright strike from that this record. GD. They said they found it in Whole Foods in Harlem. Wait, they You say green tea or black tea. Now, what I found is that the tea doesn't matter that much. Like of all the ingredients that I named, right? The tea itself is the one that I leave out the most. Like I found that if I use all those other ingredients, then I don't need the tea. But for some reason, like I said, just being arrogant and not really realizing that I was that sick, all I did this time is went to get tea. And I didn't get the other stuff until like maybe 2 days ago. So, even I'm in the house and I'm all right, but I'm sick, I'm going to do live streams. But then, yeah, I couldn't even, my energy wasn't right. You see this right here? Just puts me back where I need to be. The ingredients in here, like I said, I put the tea bag, right? The tea bag, cayenne pepper, right? And let that boil, right? And then when it came out, I squeezed the lemon in and I put honey. You know what I'm saying? But like I was telling everybody, if I was doing it at full strength, right? Then I would have chopped the lemons up, right? Especially the peels, and threw all of them in the pot with some ginger, like just the ginger root. That's usually the ginger root is fairly easy to get. Like a lot of these herbs, to get the raw form is I don't know where to get it. I mean, well, you go to the health store, I guess, but those is few and far in between. So, but yeah, that's what I use with this right here. So you said the Legionnaire's disease. I did hear something about that. The Legionnaire's disease. So they found that the source of it was in Whole Foods. You saying what? I missed something there. See, we ain't gonna be on that long today because I gotta go cook my food. But see, I use that. It's all the same stuff. If I would have had the ginger root, then I would have put that in the sauce. But see, I got some pasta and the tomato sauce, and so I put the cayenne pepper. Don't sleep on it. You know what I'm saying? The honey, put that in the sauce. If I had the ginger root, I put that in there. It was, and instead, yeah, look, the last class was how to eat to live. You right or wrong. Speaking of that, speaking of how to eat to live, you know, because I've been in the lab, right? By the way, look, I got the class ready, but I had to let y'all know that I came down to Bubonic, right? I thought that was necessary, right? So you say in the water towers, in the roofs of the buildings, that they found Legionnaire's disease in those water towers. Interesting. And so what they said they doing about that? Because I've been out the loop. Like I said, I've had a lot of time on my hands, and that's usually when it's dangerous. Like that's one thing. That's look. That's something that I avoid that. Like, see, everybody got to know their weaknesses. See, if I got a lot of spare time, I ain't gonna do nothing constructive. So see, I need to use my time constructively. But like if it's just some time, you just tell me like, yeah, look, uh, you got to wait 20 minutes to do this thing or that thing. Yeah, I ain't gonna do nothing unless I say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do during that 20 minutes. Right? Other than that, you know, like if I come, the internet, right? If I just open up the browser or something, if I'm going on there, I'm looking like, for instance, you put that about the Legionnaire's disease, right? So, okay, when I go on the internet, I'm going to Google that. You said it's at least 10 contaminated cooling towers in the central Harlem area of New York with multiple city-owned buildings, including Harlem Hospital, that tested positive. Okay, so, but in which they, just to come up with a solution, right? Sometimes you need to know what's the origin of the problem. So, you know, if these buildings, how did the same pathogen get into the water in different buildings? Like, are they coming from the same source? What is, is it the same? When you said proper maintenance, is the same maintenance people, the same company somehow dealing with it? One death and two people sick in the hospital. King Me, idle mind is the devil's workshop. Yeah, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I want people that look. But see, I keep myself. I have things to do. I have things to do. You know what I'm saying? But see, like, yeah, if I just come on the internet, right, and don't have a particular thing that I'm looking for, right, then I see, I'll be watching some shit, Fat Joe and Whack 100, which is not going. It's not leading nowhere positive. You know what I'm saying? But during this time, he said, did you answer the question in regard to your concoction working for cost also? Yeah. Now, see, in particular, right, this particular sickness was in my head. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, I didn't really have too much of a cough. But yeah, this cayenne pepper, that's what like I said, I haven't put this under laboratory laboratory testing and none of that. But what it seems like is that one of the characteristics of this is that it loosens up, it burns out all that uh, uh, phlegm and mucus and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like if my nose was still, if my sinuses were still stopped up, right now my nose would be running. You know what I'm saying? You know how you get that cough where you feel like you never really get the phlegm out, so you keep coughing. This right here does the trick for me. You said when these cooling towers became contaminated, they released mist containing the bacteria into the air. So all these buildings are somewhere in close proximity to each other. Yeah. And you know what this do too? Another characteristic that I noticed of just personally. Right? I don't want to be. Look, I'm not even selling this stuff. I'm not. I'm not even selling it. I'm not coming out. you know, Look, I'm not Darkim Johnson. You know what I mean? Where hit that cash app, ladies, for $500. You can have a cup. You can have a cup of this potion with me. We're not taking it there. But another good thing that I noticed with this, right? Another good thing what I noticed with this is that you know how when you be sick a lot of times, like your stomach, like this stuff seems to like burn whatever's going on in your stomach. It seems like it burns it out. It like if you know like after like you know how sometimes when you under the weather you don't be hungry. Drink a cup of this, you be hungry. Eric Cook, who you talking about? How somebody get silly? I see Eric. I was gonna leave you out of it. Cooling towers became contaminated because of untreated rainwater accumulated in the after heavy July storms, creating an ideal environment for Legionella bacteria to grow and spread. I mean, I still want to know. Look, how did the bacteria get in the water? That's it. I mean, that contributed to it growing and spreading, right? But how did it get in the water? Because I'm saying, look, this is what I'm asking, right? I'm saying theoretically, right? That water is coming from the same water supply that the rest that I made this tea out of. So that's why I need specifically all of this roundabout. Well, yeah, you know, we had a lot of rain in July. Man, how the hell did that shit get in the water? GD said my car AC messed me up last week. Had to change the cabin air filter. Now, yeah, that's a big thing with a lot of things. You know, even with this right here is, but I use the like the Brita water filter. But you know, you gotta, you know, you thinking that things is being filtered, but over a period of time, toxins become accumulated in the filter itself. So yeah, that is one of the problems with air conditioning. You know, but Eric Cook, man, look, I'm gonna give you a task. I don't know if you can handle it, right? But shh, be quiet. You said it's a fine mist that the naked eye can hardly detect, not in drinking water. Yeah, but I'm saying, where's the like if it's in a fine mist, then you know people should be breathing it in all over Harlem. I'm saying. You said there are 79 questions in 120. So with that being said, that is approximately 25%. Wait a minute, back up. What you say now? Omar Carter. Yeah, hey look, come get your cousin. Come get your cousin Omar Carter. that that I mistook that I mistook you for last time. But so far he's leave him alone. He seems like he's doing good. But what's the science Omar Carter? You said it's mostly 50 and up and immunocompromised individuals that's being affected. I mean, that's what this stuff be. Omar Cook said, I wanted to know there are not 120 lessons. Don't, Eric Cook, leave alone. Don't. I mean, Omar Carter, leave alone. Don't even. He's being good right now. He said, I wanted to know there are not 120 lessons. I don't think I understand the questions. I don't think I understand the question. Hold on, let me see something real quick. I just want to be prepared. Okay. I just wanted. I'm on point. I'm on point now. I'm on point now. I'm just saying. Don't nobody. Don't nobody act up. What you say here? How do I find you're live when you're actually live? You gotta subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button so you can know when I go live. But I am getting ready to what's the name though? Huh? Hey, look, you know how black people is. we got we gotta blame. Look, we gotta blame somebody for him. Omar Carter, you know how you black people look alike. I can't stand like it, dude. So wise understanding said there's 122 lessons. A couple are repeated. So who out there, who out there amongst our high-powered scholars, 120 lesson scholars, can tell us which lessons are repeated? Omar Carter, you got to watch YouTube because they'll unsubscribe you. They'll unsubscribe you and they'll unclick. You got to click in particular the notification, and then you'll get a notification. But that's something I'm gonna do though. But y'all got to hit the cash app. What I wanted to do is some people remember way back, right? I had a text alert. I actually I re-downloaded because when I was looking for some other stuff, I ended up re-downloading. I ended up re-downloading that program that I was using where I had the text alerts. Where, I had put a link and then, or even however it went down, uh, right before I went live, I was sending out the text. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just YouTube sending you alert. You was getting a manual alert from me. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, uh, that's one of the things that I was thinking about doing, so that we don't have too big of a what did I miss crew. You know what I'm saying? You said you wanted to donate. Oh yeah, I didn't put it in here today, did I? I didn't put my cash up. See, look. That's why I ain't no good. Look, see, that's how you know I'm not a good charlatan. See, I could never make it up there with cats like the Prince of Pan Africanism. I ain't even got my cash out ready. That's how you know I'm already not on point. So here we got the fifth degree in the one and chain, and the fourth degree in the 140, the 10th degree in the actual facts, and the third degree in the solar facts. How about that? Now look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is this is historical. Some of y'all probably know this. The bar probably knows this. Uh, there's a couple of people in here, but I'm doing my live as if I haven't been doing this live at the same time for years, months, and days. Y'all know what it is. But look, if anybody, in fact, look, King Math, do me a favor, contact Infinite, and tell him I'm on the live, man. Tell him stop playing. Thank you, brother. Uh, but yeah, originally there was 11 actual facts. And so, you know, if y'all run into, brothers, going back through the history, right? There's brothers that have 11 actual facts, right? And then there's brothers that got the 11 actual facts, and then it got like an asterisk, and then it says add on facts, right? And then you, oh, that must have been when that call came through. I just seen the screen back out. You know what I'm saying? And then you got people that got 13 actual facts. You see what I'm saying? So just saying that, look, when you add that on, right? When you add on to that point that you just made, right? Let's not forget all the steps and stages. You know what I'm saying? But so here's another question, right? So what's significant, right? What's significant? Huh? Yeah, yeah, nah. Hey, look, Infinite. I just said, look, I don't know why people do this every week. I can't even. You know what? I know you returning my call. I can't even remember what I called you for anyway. I can't. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I called you for. So it's alright. It'll come to me. It'll come to me tomorrow. Okay, right. You said the bar. You're right, right? In terms of who brought it, who brought it forward, right? But and that's the 12th degree, right? They not responsible for the 13th degree. At least the history that I heard of how the 13th degree came to be in the actual facts, right? But I'm saying that yeah, Allah said it, but what was the reason that Allah said it? Anyone out there? Anyone out there got an answer for that one? So why I ran into a Dr. York scroll called Postgraduate, the Renewal of the Lessons, and why he's referring to untrained lesson. I mean, look, that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. These people ain't new. Everybody, right, that seven can't claim is yeah, they got the new extension, they got all the corrections that need to be made, all of that. That's the question is, right? Why did the other two degrees get put in there? Or look, let's not even say why. What's the significance? There's a there's a supreme significance, because see, a lot of times we say why Allah did this or Allah, he did what he did, right? You not him, just like he not me. You see what I'm saying? So you could put ideas in his head or words in his mouth, right? But then there's things that's reality that we can show and prove in our time, right? Where we can show and prove that it was right and exact for him to do that, whether we aware of the exact pattern of thought that he went to come to his conclusion, right? We can go through the pattern of thought of mathematics, right? And see why that conclusion was right and exact. Anyone? He said, because when the lessons of the knowledge of self improves self, then that represents growth and development adding on. True? He said, if it was irrelevant information, the law would have left it out. Indeed. But that's what I'm saying. So, okay, you hit a good word right there. Let's use that word, right? Right? What is the relevance of those degrees to the rest of them? Okay, I'm gonna answer my question with a question, right? I'm gonna answer my question with a question, right? How you gonna show and prove 57,255,000 square miles of water without the 12th degree, right? When it says that the original man knows every square inch of the planet Earth and has already chosen for himself the best part, right? Okay, okay, Mr. Smarty Pants. Since you know, since you know every square inch, then how many of them is there? It's look, y'all was waiting, y'all look. Somebody told me that. Justice from Long Island, he said, yo, you be thinking, you be thinking that it's gonna be some high power shit. It just be something simple where you be like, yo, man. But it is just simple. You just waiting for me to say, you just waiting for me to say that that's how you gonna break the seal. You just waiting for me. That's the real secret to taking the devil off the planet. That's what you was waiting for, right? Shalom. You said divided by how many inches in a mile? Well, not quite, because it's uh, you gotta go how many square inches is in a square mile. This is where geometry comes important. You know what I'm saying? When you when you gotta apply it to stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? It's very abstract in math class. You know what I'm saying? But when you get to these times, like that was something that I did the knowledge to, man. Like I remember being in school, right? And the teacher's trying to teach me things, and in my mind I'm thinking like, yo, when am I ever gonna need to know this? Remember saying that to the teacher, and I remember geometry being one of those things. Like I don't see no grown people dealing with triangles and rectangles, bro. What the fuck is what you call it? Rhomboids? No, that's muscles. What you call those things? Unparallelograms and all this wild shit. I didn't think I was ever going to have to use that until I got the knowledge. First thing you start talking about 360 degrees, 90 degrees, stand on the square. I'm like, wait a minute. bro, I got, I got, uh, I got no idea. Somehow I just got kicked out. Let me see. 1 2, 1 2. Yeah, I ain't even sure which camera we working with right now. But yeah, that's something, right? The book. That's not the first time that happened. We started. See, they don't want us to deal with education. Why this shit don't never happen on the gangbanging channel? Why this shit don't never happen on the gangbanging channel? Right? We're we're right before somebody's about to threaten somebody, the shit go off. Like right before, you know, they be talking shit. You know, you got rival gangs and they got, you know, terminology for each other and everything. Like right before, how come right before the person is about to say some derogatory thing and start some whole mess, right? Why they shit don't go out? Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Omar Carter. Yeah, yeah. Not to. But yeah, why you gotta, why you gotta just take a shot at the supervisor? You said, I don't. I'm asking. I'm saying, what's the part that you asking? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now I ain't getting. That's what it is. I ain't giving you enough. I ain't giving you enough. Hey, look, we got to put what we got to do. Try. We gotta sprinkle some evidence or something. Look, we gotta we gotta sprinkle some evidence in the live stream and shit, and then they boost us right up. That's how you get to the top. Sprinkle a little evidence in there. You know what I mean? Top it off. Top it off with some veiled threats and shit. But you said you asking. What is it that you're asking? Yeah, sure. Look, Omar Carter. And every time we mention that something happens, you gotta look. Ixnay, Ixnay, Ixnay. Nah, that's two different things. You know? That's two different things, right? You said no. This is important, Omar Carter. This is important because this is about how as a 5%, right? I don't know how much experience you got with this, right? But as a 5%, yeah, how do you interact with other people? You know what I'm saying? And the way we interact with other people is righteously. You understand what I'm saying? So now you said two different things. Well, at least the first time, the way you said it, you said that you were plumber and your supervisor is a Caucasian devil, right? So in my, that gives me the picture, right? That see, you're calling him a devil, right? You're calling him a devil, right? And then the second time, you said you won't tell him that he's the devil. Now telling him the signs, right, of the truth of what we teach, that's one thing. But see, in this, I'm saying in this particular instance, right, you talking about plumbing. You know what I'm saying? You talking about plumbing. Now, if in the science of plumbing, right, in the science of, what I mean, however he got to interact with you, he's being the devil, that's something different. If just the way, if his way of supervising, right, includes devilishment, you know what I'm saying? The way he treats people, you know what I'm saying? How he assigns certain things, the way he talks to people, all of that. Now, if you were saying, right, that part, but, just, people see positive and negative is not people. Positive and negative is things that people do. And so, yeah, there's some things that a person might do where it's like, yeah, that's a little bit out of the ordinary with the rest of the things that you do. So, see, they could be the devil, right? That don't mean they can't do the right thing. See what I'm saying? Just like we know, we got a lot of people, right, that say they God, right, and struggle to do the right thing. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, just the way, I wasn't sure about it. Yes, I wasn't sure about, but it was just like, yo, the way, because it just was like out of left field. Like you a plumber and, your supervisor, I mean, look, that's the situation. Yeah, we know that for the most part, right? People is employed by colored people in America because that's just how it is. Say he treats me fairly and we have a good relationship. All right. But at the same time, you know, I'm not, yeah, I don't, I have it. All right, look, Omar Carter, are you starting to see now? Are you starting to see now I changed this name alone? Whew. Does the school have any plumbing issues that I can help with? Yeah. It's not like, you know, no urgent, no urgent, uh, no urgent, uh, you know, we need you to run down there right now. But I mean, look, even with your expertise, right? I'm sure there's some things you could come down there and be like, yeah, God, boom, you might need to replace this right here. This is it's getting to, this is getting bad right here, G. You know what I'm saying? And then it might be something where it's like, look, we could fix that for $15. You know what I'm saying? But Once that shit break, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it's definitely, you know, just a good idea. You know what I'm saying? If you want to add, look, come by, every so many months or something. You know what I mean? Check it out. You know what I'm saying? And just in general, uh, it's always been brothers adding on. You know what I'm saying? He said, see, Omar Cook, that's you stepping, you look, you're coming up to the line. You haven't crossed it yet. You're coming up to the line. But getting back to what Omar Carter was saying is that, over the years, we've had, a lot of brothers, professional brothers, with expertise come in, deal with the plumbing, deal with the electrician, deal with but look, over the years, a lot of those brothers have gotten older. You know what I'm saying? And some even like the brother who the electricity, the, the foundation of the wiring and all of that stuff that's in there right now, you know what I'm saying? That brother, uh, he returned to the essence, you know what I mean, some years ago. So just saying that, you know, next people gotta be picking up the torch and carrying it. He said last time I was there, Knowledge Me was a hey, look, yeah, that's a minute thing. That's it. I mean, not that long, but and then you said Knowledge Me was alive. I mean, Knowledge Me was like almost 70, so that means you could have been there anytime. You could have been there anytime from like 1975 to 2020 or something like that. I'm just saying. So you got see. I grew up around people that you had to be on point like that. Really, like I heard what you said. I know that you didn't mean that wide range that I said, right? You didn't mean that wide range that I said, but what you said left that open. Whew. Indeed, dynamic brothers and sisters that do the heavy lifting. Right? See, '02, yeah, that's a long time, man. Yeah, you talking over 20 years. You say your son was born in '03. He's grown ass man. He didn't finish college. This man, this man have finished college in the workforce, man. Since you've been there. Look, we walk around saying, I sincerely love and large mathematics. That's what we walk around saying. I came to the school for the knowledge to share it with my new baby, indeed. But I'm just saying that we walk around saying that we love and large mathematics, right? But you gotta look at it the same way. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, if you had a broad that says she love you, right? But, you know, she ain't came to see you in 22 years. Hey, look, and you ain't even in jail. You might, you might, you might start to question the sincerity of her statement when she say that. You know what I'm saying? See the fucked up thing with the knowledge though, right? Is that you're gonna have brothers and sisters, right? But see, the knowledge is not gonna love you back in that kind of way. You see what I mean? It's not like okay, you're gonna go. and visit the school to add on because you love the knowledge, but the knowledge ain't gonna come to your house and fix your, wash the dishes for you or take out the garbage. You see what I'm saying? So now it's really about do, have you been living this out to a point where you've received the benefits and the rewards of having the knowledge? Truth Seeker 7, right? And then so now you realize, man, the love that was shown to you, you know what I mean, from people giving their life even, so that you could have this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Then you could deal with universal love, you know what I mean, not just the possession of, you know, I control this object a certain way, so I love it. See, look, I seen people have problems with that. In terms of, uh, look, keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we try to stay non-controversial, but look, a lot of those rap brothers is that way. Meaning, uh, they feel like they did this great service for the nation by putting our knowledge in their records. You know what I'm saying? And becoming rich and famous by putting our knowledge in their records. And so that's one of the problems when they come around, right? They feel like they should be royalty, right? And not subject to examination or accountability. You know what I'm saying? And, to me, a lot of the people is, you got Indian givers. And look, I know that's actually a derogatory term, but I mean, I guess in that derogatory fashion that let me not try to put no cut on it, but I'm saying it in that way that see you giving stuff and you saying that you giving all that you have and all within your power, but see you want it to be counted and you want something back for it. That you got people. Listen, let me tell you something, man. There's people that come to the school and say, "Look, I'm donating this to the school, right?" But they write their name on it. So you ain't really donating this to the school. What's really the situation, right? Is you cleaning up your house and you got some shit you ain't really got no space for. And so you bringing it down to the school, right? Under the guise that you donating it to the school, but really, how did you donate it if you want it back? See, give means give. And you got a lot of delusion. You got just a lot of delusion where you got this twisted. See, I'm not deluded about that, any of that stuff. You know why? Cause see, I had the knowledge before all that happened. So see, to a lot of new people, if you got the knowledge in the late '90s or whatever, you think that Wu Tang helped the nation. You think that Brand Nubian and all these people helped the nation. Yeah, it was good to see our culture out there. It was good to start, just seeing it be, it was mainstream. Like, we don't have to explain no more. Right? It was good that all of a sudden now, right, people who was over there, now they coming over here because they want to decipher this language that they're hearing on these poor righteous teachers and Brand Nubian records. But bro, you can't tell me that things went from wall to wall, right? You can't tell me that it went from the ciphers that we had, right? All that was going on before you came out, right? Then you came out, and now everybody's like, yo, man, why it can't be like back before y'all came out? And y'all don't think this got nothing to do with it? I'm not saying that's the only reason. But we actually strayed from the topic of see, now I'm getting into the point of where it's like, okay, now if I have this point of view, that we didn't use you, you used us. Right? Let's say I have this point of view, right? You don't want to have a conversation with me because of the simple fact that uh, the values is different now. See, now the values is based upon your money and your fame, right? So, you know, if you around all day people that's accountable to you, people that's yes men in you, right? You don't want to have to come into a cipher where now we are equal now. But somebody asked a question a minute ago. I can't recall who it was. They asked the question: can you be? What did they say? Can you be true? Can you be a poor righteous teacher without 120? Now look, I know but look, this is my channel, and there's some ways that I'm funny, right? And I'm funny in the way that I need the question to be concise, because, like I said, I grew up around people with the trick questions. I'm from New York, even before the knowledge, right? So, so when you say, what exactly do you mean by that? That was you that said that, Omar Carter. So when you say, can a person be a poor righteous teacher, right? Wisdom be born. Yeah, you was there with the trick questions. So yeah, what you said? I mean, I have literal 120 years he papers. You said, I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit lost here. You said I want to know what my duty is because I feel like I've been doing. Okay, you have 120 on paper, but not on cap. Okay, so your question is, let me see if I gotta see if I'm following you here. Just let me know. So your question is, are you still a poor righteous teacher, right? Even though you don't know your lessons. Is that about the question that you need answered? Wisdom. See, that's tomorrow's class. I got it. Look, I was going to do it today, but and I was going to do this live about catching the bubonic. I was going to do this yesterday, but today's the first day. But see, I should have had a couple more cups of this. If I would have started drinking this earlier, I would have been back. You know what I'm saying? But look, I feel like doing a couple reps. I feel like doing a little light reps right now. Look, I did a few reps, but real light. Like three sets of three. Session three, man. You know, like I said, I overdid it already. Okay, so here's the thing. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted the question clarified, right? The poor righteous teacher has always existed. You know, 120 lessons didn't invent anything. You know, 120 lessons is actually a record, you know what I'm saying, of things that happen. You know what I'm saying? Now, uh, you know, we gotta, we come in our own good time, right? You know what I'm saying? And see, so what I'm saying that to say is that there's people who was poor righteous teachers, right, before February 20th, 1934. And so for those people, right, a requirement that they know 120 to be who they are would be foolish. You see what I'm saying? You know, there's other nations of people, right, that there's poor righteous teachers in it. Right? They don't even speak English, never heard of us or Elijah Muhammad. Right? And so the requirement that those people know 120 lessons, right, in order to be who they are and walk how they walk every day would be ridiculous. You, on the other hand, right, are a 5%. You see what I'm saying? And so, let's just say this, right? In this day and time, in the day and time that we living in, right? If you don't know 120 lessons, you're gonna have some struggles with the last part of that description. Teacher. You said what happened February 20th, 1934? That was the day that 120 lessons was completed. You see what I'm saying? See now how you're limited in that way. Just if you met somebody who didn't even have the knowledge and they was just asking you, well, where you getting this from? And you telling them, yeah, these are the lessons. Fard asked the questions, Elijah answered and whatever. So you limited in being a teacher. You understand what I'm saying? So look, we don't want to say, look, here's the thing, right? If you want to be, let me ask you, what are you poor in? See, poor is an adjective, right? That's describing the state of some noun. So you're saying that you're the noun, right? You're the poor one, right? Poor in what? I don't have an answer for you. I just want to know what you say. Yeah, right. See, so you didn't know until now. So this is what I'm saying. When you say you a poor righteous teacher, see, the teaching is the operative part there. You see what I'm saying? The teacher. See, poor and righteous, those describe the teacher. You're poor in understanding. No, you can't be a teacher like that. Look, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Look, so right now, just be a poor righteous student. I mean, it's wisdom be born. Sometimes it's like those hallucinations. It's like those hallucinations on Chat GPT. You know, sometimes people just Almighty said, I always seen that degree as meaning righteous teachers of the poor, because the question always says poor part of the planet Earth. The question in the 14th and 15th degree don't mention a location. Uh, I mean, I see what you're saying. You said that word poor actually means something, and we can't draw up what it means unless we know the knowledge of the matter. See, uh, how see me? I look at it more literally. You know what I'm saying? Uh, a lot of brothers have the issue with the word poor, describing themselves as poor, right? Uh, and I think some of it is the usage of words, right? The way words is used. So, uh, you know, you got the rich slave makers and the poor, right? And you got the poor righteous teachers, right? Now, on the one hand, right, you got one thing out front where you say, okay, well, the the rich slave makers, the poor that they make is the 85%, not the 5%, right? But see, here's the thing, right? Is that when you're looking at the various teachers over the time, right? That's really telling you about the difference between their condition here on the planet and their condition in the heavens above. You see what I'm saying? So let's say if you're talking about the biblical story, right? You know, Jesus had all of the jewels, right? He had the whole kingdom of heaven. If he wanted to, he could go make all the fish in this sea jump out onto your plate. You see what I'm saying? But his condition in the he wasn't trying to make money off the people. You see what I'm saying? And when you see these people, right? When you see the person that's trying to gaffle you, right? He got the nice suit on. You know what I'm saying? When you see the person, like, see, even the things that you see people going through. Like, see, look, when you see the Edmund Pettus Bridge, right? That's where they put the hoses and the dogs and that on all of the civil rights protesters. That's a poor that's like those people. You look at them and say, damn, those poor kids. Not poor as in a money, but as in what they have to go through right now at the hands of the soldiers of the rich slave makers of the poor. You know what I'm saying? It's not now. This is what I'm saying, right? About the poor and the righteous, as opposed to the teacher part, right? The poor and the righteous is adjectives, right? So you could take the poor out. You said, why are the teachers relevant if they're poor? It's, be, it's because what they certain knowledge wise trumps what you. Yeah, you gotta you gotta rewrite that. I'm already. I went to public school in New York City, so you got you can't be putting Latin and shit in the middle. I can't. Oh, there's actually plumbing, HVAC, and electricity class already at a law school in Mecca. It's on Sundays. I think it starts at 6 o'clock. The Nate Palm J Quan show. Quite a name there. He said we are the poor righteous teachers because 5% of the population is a poor number. I mean, like I said, that those is all. I'm not disagreeing with it. But see, like I said, you know, a lot of this, right? Because look, this is something that was told to me that look, Allah said we gotta take the poor out of our lessons. So you could take the poor out your lessons, right? And everything you do might don't be righteous. But you can't change the teacher part. It's you either that or you not. There's multiple ways to see a degree. I'm building on one way I draw it up personally. Poor has multiple definitions, and one can also use all of those definitions to draw up that degree. Indeed. But, you know, when we read between the lines, right, it's still a balance, right? Like we can't read between the lines so much that we don't read the lines. And so yeah, there's various ways, right? Like this brother said he's poor in understanding, right? But look, other people say they poor righteous teachers because they poor in devilishment. They poor in ignorance. You know what I'm saying? I've heard that one that you said too, that they're teachers of the poor, right? But I'm just saying, and Elijah Muhammad is not a English teacher, right? But grammatically, that's not what it says. See, look, wise understanding said we're poor in the teachings of the 10%. God, listen. The degree said we receive nothing but hard time, hunger, nakedness, and out of doors, man. It's talking about poor. Just like when it says illiterate, it's talking about people who can't read and write. Now, our job is to improve that situation, right? Till it gets to these places where we see it. But what it means, guys, is that listen, when they saw, when they saw until because there's a video on YouTube with Warif Dean Muhammad talking about when the NOI start getting money. And he's talking about how, at one time they was living in the hood. Like God, what he's teaching is if I've been there, they wasn't calling it that, but Black Bottom in Detroit, that's what it's known for, poverty. So when uh, this dude comes by, right? He's not a robber baron. This dude, when Floyd approaches them, you know what I'm saying? When Elijah approaches them, he's one of them. Like Elijah is not unknown in Black Bottom. See, look, when Allah comes, look, that happens. That literally happens, right? Allah is coming teaching the truth. Dope is starting to blow up. And so, which way you gonna go? Which way you gonna go? See, Lord Jamar doesn't want to be a poor righteous teacher no more. He wants to go make money on Vlad. he was the that's what that is. See, you could follow these rich people in their way out, and this way right here is going to be trials and tribulations. You could tell because look at the person who's telling you that. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? That look, you got the NAACP over there, right, with all they backing from you know who, right, and they gonna come in and yeah, they throwing around money. You know what I'm saying? The term sellout means something. So I agree with you with these things that you're saying. That see, once you take the pour out your lessons, right, then you're not going to leave. You're going to continue to be a righteous teacher, right, of your brothers and sisters that's still poor. So these is the places that we want to elevate to. You know what I'm saying? The lessons is not our ceiling. That's the basics. This is what all the people up until 1934. This is what they did and how they established it. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna get it to how y'all manifesting right now. You know what I'm saying? But I seen it where look, when it was popping over there, Sarnetta came in the yard like yo, you know what I'm saying? Asking me questions, yo, you know what I'm saying? Yo, we doing this, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, God, you know what I'm saying? He came on the live stream. People that's been here long enough. And see, that was something where I looked over there, that's what I saw. Like over there, yeah, they getting paid over there. Everybody, they had their own channels. You know what I'm saying? To this day right now, I still don't got as much subscribers, right, as they had back then. I've never gotten to the level, of having as many views as anybody who's on there. You know what I'm saying? But they was rich slave makers of the poor. That's what they was doing. They was out there putting motherfuckers out there to go work for them for nothing. You go work for them and they cash out them and cash out them and buy their sovereignty packages and whatever else. See, like I said, I come on here, I just tell you this is in my potion right here, my what I use to beat the sickness. You see what I'm saying? Now if I had to look, the packages, they had look, if I had the packages like this, you could buy this. You you could buy this right here. Then you become the rich slave maker of the poor. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, it's like, look, these various things, like, look, I was saying with these motherfuckers right now, look, you see all the stuff that we do, right? You know what I'm saying? Meaning, like, right now, I guess we probably got about 250 book bags, right? Between the Random Jews and the Office of Cultural Management, right? Look, we had to chip in for that. we 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 that wasn't nobody just write no motherfucking check. Now look, we got some people that have used our knowledge to make themselves rich, and we seen that them making themselves rich has compromised them as a teacher. It's compromised them as a teacher, man. See, the poor righteous teachers, look, how many people heard that the people came right there on 7th Avenue and offered the law millions of dollars to leave Harlem and go teach this knowledge someplace else to some other people. That's why we the poor righteous teachers. It don't mean we ain't got no money. You see all this nice suits on. You know what I'm saying? You heard about what his pastime is. You understand what I'm saying? You don't do that when you ain't got no money. How many of y'all heard about? Look, you used to be able to go in the store on the corner, on 7th Avenue, and there's a man there. You could tell him, look, I need a sandwich, and you put it on a large bill. So it's not that we don't have, right, no money, but at the same time, yeah, it's not like, the guy just wrote the man a check, man, and that was it. Like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm coming right back in 20 minutes. let me, I'm gonna hook that up. But I didn't know how many of my sons and daughters went in there and got a sandwich this week. I didn't. So now that I know, let me straighten you out. But see, you got other people. Look, what you doing? Yeah, I write your check. I write your check. But look, you ever notice whenever they write their checks, right? And shout out, I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that. But how many people, when they write their checks, it's like, yeah, this is to alleviate some situation in Cambodia. This is to alleviate some situation in Kenya. This is to alleviate some situation in Ukraine. And see, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that those people, but you act like it ain't no people right here. You act like it ain't no people right here that need no help. So, you know, uh, really, the original question, get back to the brother, right? Is that, yeah? That's why you're gonna have difficulties, right, with the teacher part of being a poor righteous teacher because uh, you haven't prepared yourself. You gotta prepare yourself, man, for whatever it is, man. You know what I'm saying? When it tells you about private soldiers and captains, lieutenant, and military training. Remember, being military is not just shooting the guns. Being military is the mental discipline and preparation. See, we see all type of little kids, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, kill people, but they don't have no discipline and preparation. So that's the real deal when you say what it is that you want to teach. That's why I said, what is it that you want to be poured in? If you want to teach plumbing, right, then you probably qualified to do that because you're a plumber. And in order to do that, you have to prepare yourself. It's all types of testing that you got to do. I mean, I don't know if you in the union and all of that, but I know that in any of that construction type of trades is ranks in that. It's ranks in that where every level from the apprentice level, you preparing yourself to go to the next level. And so that's one of the things that this knowledge is about, is realizing that a lot of these steps that you be taking mentally, I mean physically, you also got to do that mentally. See, you get up and you wash your face and brush your teeth. Physically, you got to pay that same type of attention to your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? The ideas and the concepts and shit that you consume. You see what I'm saying? You work out, you hit the pull-up bar, you hit the floors and all that. You got to work out your mind. You know what I'm saying? And see, if you didn't have this knowledge, you didn't have knowledge of the things that I was saying, then you wouldn't be what? Responsible for it. I ain't saying you don't need to build. We building right now. See, listen, this is the kind of knowledge right here that if you don't ask nobody, you ain't gonna know. Like, this is how things gotta come out. See, I'm gonna tell you something, man. That's something that got lost, man. That's something that got lost in the mix, right? Is that, listen, we have to have the cipher on things, man. Like that's our way to come with solutions. Now, look, sometimes you know, baby, the cipher blows up, and we don't get to the point of a solution. But that's our way to do it. See, because what happens, right? If you don't ask questions and you don't deal with ciphers in certain ways, right? What happens is this wrong thing that you know, right, becomes foundational knowledge. And then what happens is the next things that you learn is sitting on the foundation of that faulty information. And then you start building, and you done went way off course. See, a lot of times you can't tell when you off course at first. You see what I'm saying? It's after you traveling for a while. So see, right now, if something leaves the planet, right, and it's supposed to be going to the moon, if it's 2 degrees off, you probably missed the whole moon. But right here, when you first see it take off for the planet, it don't. You could barely tell. You know how, like, when you in school, right, and they teaching you about uh, angles, right, and they teaching you about angles, and you notice that the closer to the point, the shorter the distance between the lines. So just saying that to say you don't want to be thinking no bullshit, right? You don't want to be thinking no bullshit and thinking, oh well, nah, it's just a small thing or whatever. Nah, you don't want to be thinking no bullshit. Because you're going to build other bullshit on top of that bullshit, and then you're going to find yourself making up bullshit to try to bring all of it someplace where it can make sense. But I would say in general, what's the brother's name? I think Carter. I would say in general, man, you know, study your lessons, man. Study your lessons, you know, and uh, you know, the best thing to help you fight against what you need to fight against, man, is you gotta use the lessons. You know what I'm saying? And when I say use, I'm talking about in the most basic form. You gotta say them. And just from my interaction on here, right? I would say, look, when you get up in the morning, right? I mean, really, you need to be using the Brownsville method. But even if you don't use the Brownsville method, you type of proceed. You don't need to leave your house. You don't need to leave your house before you quoted today's degree. Whatever degree you want. If you in the 1 to 40, if you in the 1 to 40, you need to quote today's degree in the supreme mathematics, supreme alphabet, 1 to 10, 1 to 36, 1 to 14, 1 to 40. See, because yeah, I know. See, like you're doing plumbing, and so you're dealing with a lot of things. You probably adding numbers and all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? All day long. Omar cut it. If you do it 6 times a day, even better. But that's not the Brownsville method. The Brownsville method is quote your lesson 7 times, 7 times a day. See, I try. You want to you want. See, Omar Cook. That's why sometimes you gotta be quiet. See, sometimes that's why like you ever be in class and shit back in the days. You ever be in school like we was in regular education, and the teacher forgot to give you the homework. Like the teacher forgot to give out the homework in general, right? And then it's always some dummy, right? It'd be like, yo, what's for homework though? You did, and she's like, oh yeah, that's right. sometimes, sometimes just let people do what they do, say what they say. But yeah, I got the class. Did I tell y'all? I don't think I told y'all yet. But yeah, tomorrow the live stream. Hey, listen, drum roll. Look, this is it's because that's what it is. I got to work on my titles. No, 7 times, 7 times a day. But the live stream for tomorrow, right, is going to be the black man is God with the little G. I'm not even going. I'm not even going to tell you. Look, be there or be square. Not add nothing else on to that. But so yeah, we got any? You got any questions, man? Because I did tell you I gotta go. I gotta go handle the handle. I didn't eat yet, and like I said, yeah, this week too, I gotta get down to the nitty gritty this week. You know, the book bags. The book bags given out on Saturday. Just in general, you know, the summer is over, so uh, you know, I gotta come kind of. You know, we put everything at the school in a in a state where it could last through the winter. You know, anything that need to be covered up, you know what I'm saying, or put away, or some things need to be taken out. You know, whatever the case may be, we always get that done around this time. You know what I'm saying, and then just in general, you know, I just had a whole week down. You know, where I didn't really go out, so you know, yeah, I got some handles I got to handle. So we ain't gonna be on all night tonight. But tomorrow we gonna come on and we gonna build on the black man's God with the little G. But you know, in the meantime, we got any last questions? You said how many more book bags are needed? We actually don't need no more book bags. We need supplies: paper, pencils, pens, crayons, folders, notebooks. Yeah, that's a good question, Wise understanding. I don't know who's the originator of that. I just know that it's the Brownsville method. Everybody in Brownsville knows that. You said you bring in what Sunday? Because Sunday, well, we doing our book bag drive is on Saturday. My Spike have Jeff Wright. Who's Jeff Wright? Praying with his forehead to the floor, yet he has a giant. Princess. Giant yellow 5% fabric above his head, above his desk in his room, and the Denzel flick highest to lowest. Yeah, the 85. So you gotta remember, Spike used to rest right on the corner. Brooklyn Hospital is right there. The, where the steps is at right there, and then the hospital start on this side of DeKalb Avenue. That beige building right there on the corner. One, two, one, two, one, two. Who knows? Oh, y'all talking about that? What's his name? Oh yeah, now I was saying, yeah, Spike used to rest in that building right across from the hospital where you go to the when you come into the Medina rally. And so yeah, we see Spike. He always said peace to the guys. You know what I'm saying? So he's also over the years he's had a lot of characters in his movies. You know what I'm saying, that you could tell was even influenced by the guys, or what I'm saying, he had five or six characters in his movie. So you know him putting the character in his movie is not surprising. The character doing some things that's not without protocol, also not surprising. He 85. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really an inclusion type of person. One of the people where it's like, uh, if they doing a show, about Scandinavian, then I'm wondering, well, why ain't no 5%ers in this movie? Y'all discriminating again. Like I don't really. So I expect for any depiction of us to be off. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about the Rampage Jackson. Yeah, that was. Look, this was a funny statement right here. And I watched the UFC. So Rampage is a guy that yeah, I was a Rampage Jackson fan for many years, but yeah, that statement right there, that was a little bit funny. So Rampage said out of his four sons, he had two of them by Asian women, right? So his half Asian kids, he said he knew they was gonna go to college, right? And that he has two older black sons, right? And so he said when he saved up money, from whatever his endeavor. He's like he saved up college tuition for his half Asian kids, and he saved bail money for his black sons. So yeah, that was yeah, I don't really know what the word is for that. Supreme chess, what's the deal? You know, I mean, maybe what's the question here? Here's a good question, right? Did he use anything besides the Asian and the blackness? Meaning, like, look, was your two black sons already older? They from a certain community or whatever. They so you know what I'm saying. You thinking they got more challenges. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you had the Asian one when you was older, so you felt like you was gonna have a better impact on their life. But otherwise, man, that's some high level self hate right there. High level. but the dude did bug out though too. I don't know. Did you see the footage? What's going on over here? I can't see the chats. Oh man, don't even bring that up. Don't even bring up. Don't even bring up motherfucking. You talking about Jake Paul and Tank? Look, man, boxing has reached rock bottom, man. It's reached rock bottom, man. See, a lot of things, man. Which that's a small topic, but just in in general, that's how I look at a lot of reality. Like when we look at a lot of things that's happening, right? You know, uh, and we think, look how bad this situation has gotten, right? But see, people have the power to create illusions now. You know what I'm saying? One of them, just from being on the internet in itself, you can create all various illusions about yourself. You know what I'm saying? But uh, some of these illusions is blinding people to the reality of what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And the main part of it is the main way I think that from the outside, right, is that the consequences, you know what I'm saying? The consequences of, a lot of activity, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you would look at it, but it's like at the end of the day, right? You know what I'm saying? Just like it's people who they real life could be however it is, right? But they come on the internet, and so maybe that illusion is enough to blind them to the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of things that we see going on that we like, yo, people don't understand that this should stop. Nah, apparently not. It hasn't hit rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying that, even from speaking to brothers that's from the 50s and 60s, you know what I'm saying? And they talk about, what was the impetus, right? What was the impetus of, a lot of the militancy, you know what I'm saying, the militant behavior, you know what I'm saying, just the rebellions of it and everything. And they was like, yo, it just got to a point where, we was fed up at that time. Like it just got to the point where it was like, yo, you know what? In order to accomplish anything, in the way of freedom, justice, and equality, we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to get busy. That's what some people was already thinking. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, this is the end of the line. You know what I'm saying? But now They've successfully sold people, enough more dreams where the place may not be called heaven no more, right? But all of the things, that they promise you is the same shit. You know what I mean? You're gonna have all this money. You're not gonna want for nothing. Everybody's gonna love you, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? And once that dream is firmly enough planted in your head, right? Then you're not paying attention to the worldly consequences. You're not paying attention to the consequences in the meantime, right? The consequences that's happening every day. You're not paying attention to those because of what has been sold to you that may happen someday. See, that's why I don't be believing stuff like that. I don't know why, bro. What's it ain't coming up on the screen over here no more. I think I gotta reset that. Mm, why don't Jake Paul fight Deontay Wilder? What difference that's gonna make? In my opinion, Jake Paul, uh, he's a YouTuber. I mean, he does seriously train. I don't want to take that part from him. You know what I'm saying? But just why is anybody, you know, professional champion fighting Jake Paul? You saying that Jake Paul would get knocked out by Deontay Wilder? When's the last time you seen a Deontay Wilder fight? I don't know. But the last couple of times I seen Deontay Wilder, okay, now I can see mine. I can see the comments. You said he would knock his block off. Deontay Wilder? You saying Deontay Wilder is top 25 in what? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never been a Deontay Wilder fan ever, and I've heard all of the it's black man. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I've never been a Deontay Wilder fan. Truth Seeker said, "How can you lose when you're the promoter?" Hey, look. Is you say the odds is in your favor? Yeah, nah, never really, man. But I mean, the chances. Now, see, that's what I'm saying. That's why, to me, a lot of this stuff is like, because it's like, yo, gee, watch the way this is going. Jake Paul is going to get a championship fight soon. And see, that's the thing to me. It's that, yo, he not like you said, you the promoter, so you jump right up to fighting dudes that I'm saying, like, look, you fought Mike Tyson, right? Look, Mike Tyson even had to fight 18 guys before he got a shot at the title. Joshua might give him some trouble, but this is what I'm saying, Atif. This is like saying, you're gonna go get Jordan, right, to play against some nigga that's standing in the park on the bleachers talking shit about how good he was. Why would Jordan? Why would Jordan leave his mansion, come down to 115th Street to play this clown? Like that's the see. As soon as that mentality came, you legitimize this motherfucker. Cause this is what I'm saying. If he just don't get knocked out, see that? I didn't even know that, Jack King. That he's already a ranked fighter. How the fuck can you be a ranked fighter from all exhibitions? You say Jake Paul's Rocky Balboa. Yeah, but I'm just saying, why would you? That's some shit like in hip hop when niggas say, "Look, I ain't even gonna say nigga name and hyping him up. Like he trying to diss me, and if I say his name, I'm giving him more fame with his diss than he would have ever got. I could just let that ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always like how much people in every part of the world there's a motherfucker who challenged Mike Tyson. I'm talking about some person, some Tai Chi master, right? See, I fuck Mike Tyson up. Now issue to Mike Tyson, I'll fight you right now. People that was in the UFC, rest, all type of people, right? Is a challenge. I take on Mike Tyson. Get the fuck out of here. What? Jake Paul holds the 14th spot in the World Boxing Association cruiserweight rankings as of July 2025. Yeah, see, World Boxing Association needs to lose they whatever the fuck allows them to say what they say. I'm saying that there's a level of respect, right? That look, I give you an example that you might be able to see more clearly, right? There's a level of respect for the game that's being lost in basketball, and when you're looking at it, you can tell that yeah, these dudes is like to me. That's just like nah, son, come on, man. How many fights? Somebody tell me. Does anybody out there know how many fights did Sugar Ray Robinson have to have before he got a title match? Yeah, you're right. The women's boxing, you know something? You're right. The women's boxing is more exciting right now. Dwight Muhammad returned? That's what I'm saying. Like you did. I don't see it, man. How many fights does Jake Paul have altogether? How many professional fights? Sugar Ray Robinson had like 200 professional fights. I think they said he won like 150, 170, something like that before he lost. His first title win on December 20th, 1946, Robinson defeated Tommy Bell for the vacant welterweight championship in his 76th career bout. The significance: this victory occurred despite his refusal to cooperate with the Mafia, which had previously blocked his path to a title shot. So 76 fights. I remember one time when Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvelous Marvin Hagler was about to fight, right? When they was building up to the fight, and Marvin Hagler was like, "Yeah, see, he a pretty boy, man. See, he came out the Olympics, and see the whole time he fighting for money, man. He not real. He fighting for money. He came out. See, his first fight, he made thousands of dollars. My first fight, I made $50, man. I made $50. I'm just saying, how much Jake Paul made his first fight? Clarissa Shields. I like Clarissa Shields, though her head about to get knocked off by somebody soon. You know, Clarissa Shields, I've been following her since her Olympic time. There was actually a documentary that was made about her uh, where it was, you know, like she had a trainer in her small town, but the trainer, they wasn't allowing him to go to the Olympics. So that was like when she first was starting her journey and everything. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and then she went into the ranks and everything. So I've been following her since she was in high school and shit. You know what I mean? But uh, it's just Layla Ali. Nah, I think Layla is old. She's long in the tooth. She's long in the tooth to be getting in now, and I think it is difficult to compare them because of the level of competition that they faced. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I do think that in that fight game in general, it's like it's a fine line you gotta walk, right? And you could easily lose the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's trying to be Muhammad Ali, right? Everybody's trying to uh, everybody is you trying to make your purses bigger. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to draw attention to your fights. You know what I'm saying? But you know, uh, it's something about making the right people hate you and the right people love you that you lose the some of them lose the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like remember the dude he was trying to copy Floyd. Clarissa put up 15 million for Layla. Yeah, because how old is Layla? Layla's like 50. Like I don't Clarissa is kind of that's kind of stay in your lane. I mean, really, I don't even know why Clarissa be reacting to her like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens in every era, right? Uh, Floyd Patterson talks shit about Muhammad Ali. Joe Louis talks shit about Muhammad Ali. Rocky Marciano talks shit about Muhammad Ali. Like, that's going to happen, son. You know what I mean? Look, if you ask anybody around my age, yeah, I hear you about Floyd, but you ain't fucking with Sugar, son. You ain't fucking with Sugar. Stop it. But saying that Broner, he did the same thing where it's like you overplayed your hand and you just became unlikable. And I think Clarissa Shields is if she hasn't already passed it, she's reaching that line where is you becoming unlikable. You know what I'm saying? Said Clarissa is close to being exposed for her weaknesses. To me, I thought she she you know whenever she challenged that dude and got knocked out, that's what I knew. It was like, all right, uh, the money and the fame has gone to your head. You know what I'm saying? And just her reaction to it and everything. It's like, but there's a couple of celebrities right now that, in my opinion, like they crashing out, man. I've developed a theory about that, where I think that some celebrities is suffering from the other side of the parasocial relationship. You see on this internet thing, that's what they talk about a lot, is parasocial relationships, but they usually coming from the standpoint of the viewers, right? That the viewers think that the person that they watching is really uh, yeah, I saw that Pacquiao thing. That was kind of crazy. I didn't think Pacquiao was coming back. All right, divine understanding. Happy born day. Wrote this on the day of wisdom power. All being born to myself. See, if I had the machine hooked up and everything, I'd put a round of applause. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying is that usually when they talk about the dangers of the parasocial relationship, they be talking about the viewers. You know what I'm saying? They talking about the viewers, right? But what I'm starting to see is that the celebrity be suffering from the parasocial relationship too, because it's like people buy your records. They buy the pay per view for your fights. You know what I'm saying? When your album is dope. You know what I'm saying? They give you a like on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? They repost your fights. All of this various shit, right? And then the star begins to think that these people really love them. And so now all of a sudden, if you come out with a song and people like, yeah, I ain't feeling that one like that. Now it's like, yo, why people hating on me? Why is all of this happening? It's like, bro, those people never loved you. You brought some new elements or whatever. People was rocking with you, but you expected some type of unconditional love from these people and shit. You know what I'm saying? And when you don't get it, then you start crashing the fuck out for more and more attention. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, Clarissa Shields, she seems like that's what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? And also, like, maybe, you know, she's really just now starting to be known outside of the boxing world. You know what I'm saying? Like, her accomplishments is up there, but she don't necessarily like get named with Serena Williams, you know, or, even Angel Reese, that's not that good. So I think those things right there is why she's crashing out, because I think like she might be thinking like that, like, yo, why are people still talking about Layla Ali after all this time when I'm the champion, and I'm gonna show everybody what I, and it's like, bro, you're not getting no, when was Layla Ali born? How old is Layla Ali? Because remember, Layla Ali, that's what I'm saying. Who remembers? I know you remember Don Bishop. 47. Come on, man. Look, I don't even want to see Layla Ali get in there. I don't even want to see Layla Ali get in there. Like them fights, like the Mike Tyson. I don't want to see that. You know why? Because I didn't see too many boxers, right? You know what I'm saying? That, yeah, I appreciate their talent and all that. But listen, man, you see Meldrick Taylor recently? I mean, even recently, 20 years ago, have you seen Meldrick Taylor? You know, James Toney. You seen James Toney recently? So I don't be wanting to see these people get in the ring, you know what I'm saying, at this age and take blows to the head. Especially people that, you don't need to do it. You're already a legend. But Don Bishop, you remember Christy Martin? Like that's kind of, Layla Ali, that's the position in terms of boxing, right? To me, that she holds is that, you know, there really wasn't no women's boxing like that. Then it started coming around, and then you had Christy Martin. Remember, she was knocking people out. She was knocking broads out, but they was kind of just like, you know, that was almost strip club boxing. You know what I'm saying? Then Layla Ali came and actually, she built up her talent, right? And then she came and washed Christy Martin up. You know what I mean? And then Layla Ali made it, you know, a skill like, you was coming to see, she started developing. She started developing. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when the women's boxing, to me, it started to become more serious, where it opened the doors, right, to where uh, Clarissa Shields could come in and do her thing now. So I don't really see it as, I don't know why she would even have beef with her and shit. I mean, it was. Said Layla never called out Ed Wolf. That's why Wolf retired, because nobody would fight. I do remember it being a couple of ladies like that. Said Layla would need to get boxing fit because she's already healthy, and 8 months of training, as she put it, would get her back in the fold. But you said, oh, Pac, although he won the fight, looked a little bit unhealthy. I mean, uh, I just, I mean, look, I don't doubt that she could get in shape. I don't doubt that she could get in shape, but I'm just saying that, look, you know, look, at 47, you just need more recovery time. You're gonna need, what I'm saying, where you able to just pound it, what I'm saying, with the workout, with the getting in shape every day, every day, every day. You know what I mean? Take a little 1 day a week or something like that. I'm saying at 47, and just in general, I don't think it's nothing. I don't think it's nothing that. But I didn't know she was doing that. The last I knew, her and what's her name? That's a good question too. Clarissa Shields got 15 million to put up. I mean, and I don't know what her money is like, but that's a pretty big purse for the boxer. For the boxer to say they're putting that up themselves. It's one thing to go talk to Bob Arum. But maybe she's on that level where she could promote her own fight. He said Clarissa keeps saying how Layla ducked and Wolf, though I don't see Clarissa calling Ann out. Now is she? I mean, yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, is Clarissa Shields like, what is she gonna get, right, from beating a 47-year-old fighter who hasn't fought in 7 years, right? Who is not really, what I'm saying? Layla started boxing as an adult, the way I recall it. Whereas, Clarissa Shields is a lifetime, Olympic decorated. Like, I just I don't get it. Why you? Hey, look, tell him Don Bishop. Don Bishop said, Layla is almost twice Clarissa age. Even if I get in fighting shape, I'm not about to fight my young guy, who I'm twice as old as. I'd have to get the blicky, pretty much. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. Encyclopedia Brown in the building. But yeah, either way, man, yeah, boxing is in bad shape, man. And I thought, it's a missed opportunity because, the UFC was coming up for a minute, but the UFC is struggling right now too. In other news, I don't know. So I told you, I spend a lot of time doing shit I ain't supposed to be doing. So I don't know if y'all know. Did y'all know that Shannon Briggs is supposed to be getting ready to fight 600? I don't know if y'all. I'm sure y'all know who Shannon Briggs is, but yeah, I just seen him and him and 600, him and 600, him and 600 was lining it up. Now I was getting ready to do a set, but look, I'm down though, Encyclopedia Brown. This last week I was down for the count. I had I had the flu. I had the bubonic. I had the bubonic since last Tuesday. Today's my first day up, but I made some of my special concoction right here. This is Celestial Seasons tea boiled with cayenne pepper, right? Squeezed out a half a lemon in there and put some honey. You know what I mean? So right now, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm coming back slowly. Right now, I'm doing sets of, I'm just doing 3 reps a set right now before I overdo it like I did last time. Cause that's what I think happened, man. I fucking around. See, I got these push-up prongs. They really for pull-ups. See, they got the screw hole right there, right? They got the screw hole right there, but I ain't got nothing to screw this onto that's strong enough. So I use it for push-up prongs, and I could work good. This is good to work on your handstands. You see what I'm saying? Because you a little bit up off the ground, the L sits, all of that. You can get super busy with the prongs. So I rock with that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't. Yeah, that used to be one of my favorite things to do, man. Like, something I realized? the whole time, the whole career of cable, for me, was about boxing. Like I remember, they like it never was really cable around my way until Mike Tyson came. When Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson started fighting on HBO, right? Anybody who had HBO at that time had like 30 people at their house. And then pretty much once pay-per-view got to, $150 a fight, it's like, yeah, well, I got this, I don't need this. You know what I mean? Then the Fire Stick came out. Listen, yeah, that's how we started off. That's how we started off. Talking about, you know, Tank and Jake Paul. See, I'm gonna tell you what I don't like about that shit, son. I'm gonna tell you what's the real listen. Supreme Just, you seem like you a boxing fan. Look, I know, but listen, Don Bishop, Encyclopedia Brown, y'all tell me if I'm wrong about this, son. Son, you need to run that back fade with that kid that beat you up. What are you doing fighting fighting exhibition fights when you ain't show that you have your shoulders above your competition like that to where you can afford to go and play. And I'm not listening. In the rematch, you might wash it. I'm not saying whatever, but I'm just saying that what happened at that fight, right? You don't need to be playing. See, these would be the same people saying, yo, why y'all don't respect me? And y'all don't respect my record and all of this. And I'm this many fights in. Oh, because you did shit like this. Like Floyd could do that. First of all, Floyd is retired. Yeah, Roach. They trying to put the young one that looked like Tank against him. No, bro. Nah. See, that's what I'm. Bro, whoever is the sanctioning people of whatever belt Tank got, bro, you would have lost that belt. You would have lost that belt years ago. You would have got stripped for that belt. And then I'm just saying, look, I don't want to sound ridiculous. I don't want to sound ridiculous, right? But what happens if you lose? If Shakur get that fight and beat Roach, it's a wrap for the Tankamaniacs. Yeah. Hey, look, they going to listen. They will never stop hearing it from the Shakarites. they will never. They will never stop hearing that one. But I'm just saying, look. Encyclopedia Brown. What if Tank lose? You see, he didn't beat some people of note, but it was always after they retired. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, this don't even make sense. Like I don't know how much you getting paid, but this is you're right. He could only be trying to cash out and bounce because even if you win, this a blemish. This a blemish on your record. But imagine if he lose, though. Imagine if he lose. Then what happens? Devin Haney. See, Devin Haney, man. Uh, I think he suffered from the Adrian Broner problem. You know what I'm saying? Where you don't. He doesn't know how to walk the fine line of marketing your fights and becoming unlikable. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, um, I do think that I'm having, me as from my individual way of looking at things, right? I'm having trouble evaluating a lot of these fighters because it's like you said right there, it's scripted, right? I mean, as soon as they get into a fight that's not scripted, right, they don't look the same. And yeah, it may not be scripted in the terms of every punch and duck is choreographed, right? But it's scripted as far as like they was talking about the weaknesses of various fighters. It's scripted, so that this fighter's weaknesses play right into your strengths. I mean, I don't doubt that he get knocked out because, see, that's one thing that those losses do. Those losses, you can't just play your game no more. You can't just sit back, well, I'm the undefeated guy. So, you got to do everything by my terms. The weight of the gloves, every little thing that they do that it's like, yeah, once that all adds up, it gave you a good advantage there. He said Tank weighs 135, Jake is 200 pounds. Listen, you a championship fighter. This guy's a YouTuber. What are you getting in? Listen, I'm making you mad. What the fuck is Tank getting in the ring with him for then? Like, this is not for now. This is for after you retire. Pros versus Joes. Like, look, he signed the contract and he's going to cash the check. As long as that's the situation, right? I'm just saying what I'm saying. Now, Jake Paul just run up on you at the casino and start hooking off with you. See, hey, look, then fuck it. Now it's a fighter, black and the white. That's something different. But as long as I see him, when I see him, look, when he go get all that new jewelry, right, can't make no excuses for you, man. Tank might come out with, listen, man, all these is things that I'm just saying that, bro, why? Like, you just, like, why would I do, like, look, if this how I make a living, this how I make a living. That's what I said. I don't know how much he get. Maybe he getting $250 million, right? He said, "Great God, chat, God, power, equality." Nah, I missed that one. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, why would you risk that? Like, I'm saying, if anything, like, I'm just saying, you know, at your job, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all do stuff for money, right? Dogs don't shit where they eat. Why would I risk my instrument, right? My instrument to make money with, to build my legacy with, let alone my life and my health and everything that's had to happen outside and after boxing, right? Why would I get in the ring with this nigga? Why? I don't get that. And there's a lot of things happening like that. Like, see, I watch certain shit, and this is like a personal thing. See, I watch certain shit to help me keep perspective. I was watching this cat, right? And he said that, yo, he working no jumper, right? So he said, yo, one day academics comes to no jumper, and he pulls out the gun and puts it on the table. So like, yo, what you doing with that? He's like, yeah, I'm licensed. I got the license to carry everything. So he said after that, he went and got a license and got him a gun. You know what I'm saying? And that's why would you do that? Like, why would you, if you wasn't the type to have a gun, and if you got it registered in LA, you probably wasn't the type to have a gun. Why would you go get a job where you gotta have a gun? Why would you do that? Why would you risk your life? Or even if you got, why would you exacerbate shit to the point where you gotta walk around with a gun? Like, why? I don't understand none of that shit. Maybe that's just how old I've gotten. Bud or Canelo, look, another one of these fights where look the size, the size, could make a difference. Now look, I have tremendous confidence in Bud. I think Crawford is going to take him. You know, now see, there's some things that they do have to get in the ring. There's some things that we got to see, right? I'm gonna tell you one thing. I don't think the strength difference is going to be that great, and that's something that I've always thought about him. Right? Is that he came. Well, I don't know if what he was doing first, but I know he has a pretty extensive career in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Not WWF wrestling either. And see that wrestling training is serious. You know, the balance, the power, you know what I'm saying, the the physical attributes that kind of training builds up. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, that's one of the things that I'm sure Canelo is going to want to do, right? He's going to want to come in and lean on him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Bud is going to stand there for him to lean on him. And I don't think the leaning will have as much of an effect as it might have on other little people. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, um, you know, he's won most of his fights. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think if Bud comes in with that Floyd Mayweather strategy too, right? If you look at Floyd, when you really see him picking people apart, it's in the late rounds. If you watching them first 4, 5, 6 rounds, it's kind of an even fight. A lot of Floyd fights. Then around the 7th, 8th round, he turns on and starts getting stronger and faster as the opponent is wearing out. You know what I'm saying? And just saying that, going by with the speed difference, how the speed difference against Floyd looked when he fought Crawford. I mean, when he fought Canelo. Uh, if Bud uses his speed in that same way, you know, and just, he got the discipline too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got fighters that they got all the uh the tools, you know what I'm saying? But then you got like your Zab Judas that they might don't have the mental discipline to come in and stick with the game plan. You know what I'm saying? Had he stuck with the game plan, he probably would have beat Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Bud is a type of dude. Bud is a type of dude that uh, he'll fight 12 perfect rounds with you. You said Floyd picked Canelo apart from the first round on. I mean, you know, the if Floyd's fights have a rhythm. Round 7, round 8. That's when you start seeing money Mayweather. You see it. Right. Parasocial describes a one-sided relationship between a person and a media figure. But what I'm telling you is that they're not realizing that the media figure, right, is struggling in that relationship too, because they're under the impression that these people love them unconditionally. Right. Now see, look, in that Errol Spence fight, right, Bud fought 12 perfect rounds. You know what I'm saying? And Errol Spence, he been through the accident and a lot of different things. So, all of that got something to do with it. But uh, you're right, that did super impress me because when you make a champion, look like that, that's heavy artillery. Without question. But yeah, I'd say this much. That's the most interesting fight that I want to see. Like, it's a fight where it's like, okay, this is why we watch. This is why they get in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can sit here and do this all day, right? Who we think is going to win and who we think is going to lose, but they got to get in the ring and perform how we think they're going to perform. So that's definitely the most interesting one. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely going to be skipping. I'm definitely going to be skipping Tank and Logan Paul, and I'm gonna catch the Shannon Briggs. I'm looking for the Shannon Briggs 600 fight too. Sure, Arrow had just recovered from a major car crash that affected his motor skills. He doesn't even talk the same anymore. Look, that like I said, I wouldn't, you know, I'm definitely counting that in what happened. You know what I'm saying? But still, in all, On the other one, you know what would be interesting? You know, it'd be interesting a battle royal with Whack 100, Charleston White, and Fat Joe for the belt of who's the biggest liar. Who's this? Benavidez? Who's that? I don't think I seen him fight. It'd be a lot of guys now that I be missing because you know it's like a lot of times you get on to fighters because they fighting on the undercards of big fights, but a lot of times the big fights now I don't want to see them. You know what I'm saying? In fact, a lot of times, a lot of times, uh, uh, the preliminary fights is where it's at. A lot of times it's that first and second fight where the action is the real action is. In the UFC too. Wait 3-4 hours to see some shit and people just walking in a circle. You got so Don Bishop said he got Joey Crack in that battle royal. I don't know, I think I got Charleston White. Mexican monster. I gotta check him out. Or you know what? I might have seen him and just don't know his name. But there is a lot of fighters that I don't be knowing like that now. You ain't see Charleston White. Charleston White. Charleston White beat up the Island Boys. Who knows, man? But let me go. Oh no, I ain't get a chance to try to. I ain't get a chance to try the Chat GPT jump off yet. I ain't get a chance to check that out. I got actually a couple things I need to go on there and try. I've been watching. I've been watching YouTube and seeing some new stuff that's supposed to be characteristics. Yeah, that's what I said. Look, we didn't see Charleston White. We didn't see Charleston White kick some ass, man. That's why I said I got Charleston, man. Yo, that was the fight. You know the fight I wanted to see the most. Remember when Saddam Hussein told George Bush like, "Nah, we ain't got to call the armies. It's just me and you. it's just it's just me and you line it up. It's just me and you line it up. You know what I mean? We ain't got to get all these people involved." Now That would have been the fight of the century right there. Because not for nothing, that's how I be thinking. Like, how many times, you know what I'm saying, like, you beefing with these people, the people, we don't have no problem with those people. You fighting with them for some corporate interest, why don't y'all just go knuckle up, son? Why we gotta get involved? That could solve all of this. You know who's my favorite people? You know who's my favorite people when it's time to fight? You know what's the most vicious move when it's time to fight? Is look, it ain't even no nigga shit. Like with all the stuff that black people do that cause problem, saying nothing beats when the person take the white glove off and slap the person on both cheeks. Listen, that's way over SMD, son. That's way over SMD. That's way over SMD, son. Like wherever you from, whatever's the thing that people say when they want to invite some smoke, nothing beats pulling off the white glove and smacking a grown man on both sides of his face. Yeah, look, I rather the real five fingers. I rather the real five fingers speak to the face. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I rather the real five fingers to the face. Listen, I rather the real five fingers to the face than to be slapped on both sides of the face. Hey, listen, you know, look, it's never a black glove. It's never a brown glove. It's always a white glove. Nah, I ain't see that one. And you know, I've been watching a lot of. I've been watching a couple of fight videos. What you said? Somebody got slapped. No, I ain't see that one. But yeah, I guess we out to the end. Look, we got any last? We gonna get one last call. One last call for Any last questions before we be up out of here? You know what I'm saying? While we waiting on that, I'm getting a lightweight. Right now, see when I get to this level, I do the circuits. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm pushing and then I'm maxing out on the sets, then I don't really do the circuits like that. But I'm gonna get one circuit in. You know what I'm saying? Then after this, I got a little mission I gotta run. And I'm gonna come back in, right? I'm gonna make some more of my concoction. But see, when I do it, I'm gonna put it in the tomato sauce, right? So I sprinkle the cayenne pepper in there, of course. You know what I'm saying? In the honey. Not so much the lemon. If I make a drink on the side, then I'll put the lemon in there. You see what I'm saying? But you drinking the teas, but then when you eat it in the food, that also has a particular wait. Somebody said, wait, he slapped him 4 times for saying he was African? Divine God. Which divine God is this? Is this divine God from Minnesota, or is this the wordsmith? Why is a punch to the face more accepted than a slap? See, a punch, right, implies, well, a slap implies a level of disrespect where you clearly under the impression that I'm not much of a threat. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just slap me, right, most likely, you didn't say knuckle up first. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? If somebody comes up, right, you know how they say in LA, bomb first, right? If somebody just come up and bomb on you, right, then at least, uh, you know, they have to be looking at you as some kind of worthy opponent. You know what I'm saying? Or you could imply that. It's not necessarily saying that, but a slap, right, is definitely implying, right, that uh, whatever your retaliation is going to be, I'm not concerned about it enough to try to put you down. You know what I mean? But in this day and time, I mean, we way out. People listen. People be beefing now over stuff that you know. To me, like I said, a lot of things like you just wanna go on the internet and say certain things, right? And then now you gotta walk around your neighborhood. You gotta walk around your neighborhood strapped because of this stuff that you just said. And these people, you don't even, you know, if I gotta come to the internet for you to know we got beef, right? Do we got beef? Like if me and a person is supposedly beefing, right? But I don't find out until they do an interview on the internet, I don't got beef. But yeah, last call, look, when I finish this round right here, right? When I finish this round, then we out of here unless we got some more questions. You know what I'm saying? Look, don't laugh. Don't laugh. See, that's what I decided to do. I'm gonna show y'all my journey. I'm gonna show y'all my journey back to getting in shape. since the since last year, in the car accident. I still got some mobility in this shoulder right here. That's what I'm working on right now too. That's why I'm keeping my sets low, right? Because I'm working on touching my chest to the bar. I can get my chest over the bar, but the mobility in the shoulder, I can't pull in like that. So let's see if we can get, we just real light. I told you I don't laugh. We'll do 3. Do 3 of these. Then we come back over here. These right here is actually because I've been changing my form a lot, and like I said, a lot of the issue is in my shoulder. Whew. Then I go back to the legs. Then yeah, I can't see me, but I got the push-up arms right here. Let me get these. Yeah, I hit 3 more. Yes, see, I can see it. I'm going down much more evenly now. I'm going down much more evenly now because the mobility is coming back in my shoulder. So yeah, this week I'm gonna be taking it light. I'm gonna be taking it light like that. You know, so I did 3s today, right? What I'm gonna do is, so I'm gonna skip tomorrow. Then when I come back on Wednesday, I would be doing the same circuit, but 5s. You know what I'm saying? Then by next week, I should be able to kick back in to my, getting some high reps in there. But in the meantime, between time, we're gonna sign off and say peace. You know what I'm saying? This right here was kind of a, you know, in the middle live stream. I didn't really know how I was gonna respond, if I was gonna be getting tired or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But my drink actually energized me. You know what I'm saying? Where y'all can see that by the end of the live, I was ready to work out. You know what I'm saying? The Ford book. Yo, you know something? I am gonna put a date on that. I'm not gonna say Monday. I'm not gonna say next week. But yeah, in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna start getting to into that Ford book, man, and see what that got to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right now, see, it's in here. I know what it is. It's this shoulder blade. Like all of I had the whole girdle around my shoulder, everything, the upper chest, the traps, even down here, the lat, this whole side, because of the nerves and shit. You know what I'm saying? But I can see from my form, because before you could definitely see that I was favoring that left side. It's evening out now. So I'm on the right road. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, between time, I'm going to sign off and say peace. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be back in here tomorrow with The Black Man is God with the little G.